This is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. One-day-old baby found dead in manhole. Police nabs mastermind of general's murder. Senate passes minimum wage bill into law. African group votes Okonjo-Iweala for second term. Ugandan president mobilizes police ahead of rally. Amusan is Team Nigeria's flag bearer. Chris Brown sued for $50 million assault. One-day-old male child was discovered dead in a manhole in Ekwe Street, Ikwere Road, Mile 3, Diobu, Port Harcourt, River State, by members of Diobu Vigilante Group. Speaking in Port Harcourt, the Chief Security Officer of Bolu, attached to Diobu Vigilante Gosttime Ihunwo, said about 5 a.m. his team were on patrol and getting to Ikwere Road by Ekwe Street, Mile 3. They discovered a newborn baby was dumped into a manhole. However, the National Coordinator Center for Basic Rights Protection and Accountability Campaign, Prince Wiro, has condemned the action of the unidentified mother, describing it as the height of wickedness, adding that action of the mother of the child is a crime that is punishable under the Nigerian law. The human rights advocate urged residents who may have useful information about the identity of the child's mother to report to the police for necessary action. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has warned of a national crisis if the All Progressives Congress fails to ensure a free and fair election in the September governorship poll in the state. Obaseki issued the warning during a stakeholders meeting in Benin City and represented by the state's Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, condemned what he called attempts by the APC to negatively spin Obaseki's comments. He accused the APC of trying to exploit the instrument of violence to influence the outcome of the forthcoming election. This is coming after on Thursday, July 18, 2024, ahead of the rally to inaugurate the APC National Campaign Council in Benin City, which was held on Saturday, July 20, 2024. The party assembled a large number of people around the presence of the Benin Airport on Airport Road, Benin City, resulting in the unfortunate death of a police officer, Inspector Ako Onu, attached to Mopo 45 Abuja, the wanton destruction of properties and injuries to several citizens who were about their lawful businesses. Federal High Court sitting in Benin City has convicted and sentenced the businessman Olabinjo Ajobo to 7 years imprisonment for duping one judge, Ozomo, of 12.5 million naira. A statement by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission said Ajobo was jailed with an option to pay the sum of 500,000 naira as the option of fine and 12.5 million naira to the victim. Ajobo was first arraigned in 2018 before being rearraigned in July 2023 on an amended 3-count charge of obtaining by false pretense. According to the statement, the presiding judge, Justice Chuka Obiozo, said the prosecution had proven the 3-count charge of fraud against Ajobo, while the prosecution called 3 witnesses who testified as to how the defendant committed the offense and tendered several documents as evidence. Delivering her judgment, Justice Chuka Obiozo said the prosecution counsel, Elodi, proved her case beyond reasonable doubt, convicted and sentenced the defendant to 7 years imprisonment without an option of fine. Akwa Ibom State Police Command says it has discovered an armory in a private mortuary at Ekeya Okobo local government area of the state. The Commissioner of Police, CP Wahid Ayilara, who stated this while briefing newsmen at the command headquarters Ikota Pabio Uyo, said the operatives stormed the place on intelligence following the arrest of the kidnapping syndicate, and the syndicate led by a wanted kidnapper, one Ubong Effiong Achibong, also known as Condiment, was allegedly responsible for the kidnapping and killing of several persons in the state. The commission also paraded 23-year-old Daniel Edem Okun, who was said to have engaged a commercial motorcyclist from Idoro Road in Impipom, Ikotedin, and on getting to a lonely part, hacked the rider to death, buried him in a shallow grave in the area, and escaped with his motorcycle. Ailara also paraded other suspects who allegedly committed various crimes such as kidnapping, rape, trafficking, and vandalism, amongst others, and said that all the suspects would be arraigned in court upon completion of investigations, and thanked the people, government, and sister security agencies for their collaborative efforts in fighting crime and insecurity, while urging them to maintain the temple. Akwa Ibom State Police Command says it has rescued 10 pregnant women from a baby factory operated by a 56-year-old suspect, Eunice Eze. The Commissioner of Police, Wahid Ayilara, who disclosed this at the police headquarters, Ikotakbanabia in Uyo, said the suspect, who specializes in running a baby factory at World Bank Estate in Owerri, was arrested on July 15 at 4:30 p.m. through actionable intelligence. The Commissioner said the police also arrested a wanted kidnapper and his group responsible for kidnapping and killing of several persons in the state. Ayilara says that the police recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 2 G3 rifles, 1 double-barrel rifle, 5 magazines, and 7 live ammunition, adding that the firearms used by the kidnapper and his syndicate were recovered at a private mortuary being used as the armory at Ekeya in Okobo local government area of the state. Ailara thanked the state government for their support, sister security agencies, and good-spirited members of the public whose credible and timely information led to the arrests. Cross River government has cautioned residents of the state against participating in the planned August 1 nationwide protest. The Commissioner for Information, Dr. Erasmus Ekpang, who made the call in a statement in Calabar, says that although Nigerians were passing through a difficult moment, government at all levels was showing enormous commitment to the well-being of the citizenry. He said the state government will not hesitate to take decisive actions against anyone or group who threatens the prevailing peace in the state, adding that the government had implemented several intervention programs as part of its commitment to the well-being of the people. He said no fewer than 117,802 poor and vulnerable households had benefited from the series of intervention by the government, adding that Senator Basio, led government has initiated programs aimed at improving the quality of life in the state. Ekang also said under the cash transfer program, the State Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs had disbursed about 1.3 billion naira to beneficiaries across the state. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has accused former governors who led the state in the past of alleged electoral manipulation, which is responsible for the unending corruption, decisive and clannish system of governors in the state. Governor Oti, who disclosed this at Wesley Methodist Church, Umahia, during the Thanksgiving service for the successful burial of Victoria Nkolika, declares that henceforth leaders that will lead Abia State will emerge through the popular will of the people. The governor, who was at the Thanksgiving service with top members of his cabinet and some legislators, thanked the church for the prayers and support they were giving his administration, adding that his administration was practicing good governance and ensuring equitable distribution of democracy dividends to all parts of the state. He also said his administration was not interested in state or local government of origin, but believed that anybody who lives and pays their tax in the state. In his sermon, the priest in charge, Very Reverend Omona Orji, encouraged the people to anchor their faith in God. Abia State government has concluded plans to offset all outstanding salaries arrears owed to various tertiary institutions in the state by the immediate past government, estimated at 18 billion naira. The Commissioner for Information and Culture, Prince Okekalu, who disclosed this following the outcome of this week's Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Alex Oti, said the payments would commence in August with 1.5 billion naira to be disbursed monthly over the next 12 months. Kanu said the government had taken decisive steps to address the long-standing issues of monthly salary payments of staff of Abia State University with the recent meeting where the governor met with the vice-chancellor and members of the university's governing council to discuss and resolve their financial concerns, adding that the governor directed the accountant general to ensure the immediate payment of all outstanding monthly salaries of Abia State University staff for both verified and unverified staff members within the week. He said Governor Oti has directed the Accountant General to meet with the heads of tertiary institutions to harmonize their overhead expenditure needs for the government to tackle them accordingly, adding that the initiative is part of the government's strategy to safeguard both lives and the huge investment it is making in the educational sector. High Court sitting in Nsukka, Enugu State has granted an order barring the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, from going ahead with a hostel project. The interlocutory injunction was granted by Justice Cynthia Urunwa while delivering judgment in suit filed by Honorable Nemaka Aleke on behalf of Abupa community against the UNN Viagem Property and Investment Limited. Aleke in the suit had urged the court to stop further development of the 11,900 room hostel, which he alleged was causing environment degradation to Obukpa community. Also sought 1 billion naira as damages. Delivering judgment after 4 years of legal tussle, the court held that the evidence of the 6 witnesses presented by the plaintiff was incontrovertible and resolved all the issues in favor of the plaintiff, said apart from the testimony of the witnesses, a visit by the court to the project site equally proved that there were environmental threats. The judge also ordered the defendants to pay the sum of 20 million naira to the plaintiff as well as another 500,000 naira over the litigation. Police force has clarified errors surrounding the redevelopment of police barracks, particularly the Falomo barracks in Lagos State. According to a statement on Tuesday via X signed by the force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the police counter what it described as misleading write-ups and social media comments alleging the sale of Falomo barracks land. According to the Nigerian police force, the redevelopment initiative is part of a broader strategy to improve living conditions for police personnel and their families nationwide. The force said the initiative is not limited to Falomo barracks, adding that redevelopment projects will be implemented across all police barracks nationwide over time, and described it as a strategic effort to improve the living conditions of officers and their families. Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria called on the Inspector General of Police Kayode Betokun to investigate allegations of unlawful demolitions carried out by suspected armed hoodlums, allegedly accompanied by police officers. The association made the call following a petition received and acknowledged by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Lagos, which highlighted a series of disturbing incidents and frowned at the demolitions allegedly carried out by on the orders of the Assistant Inspector General and the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit without the knowledge of the Lagos State Commissioner of Police. The petition claims that on July 22, 2024, one Modupe Orison, alongside police officers from Zone 2 and a group of hoodlums, allegedly launched an attack at the property of Harmony Gardens, causing extensive estimated to exceed 1 billion naira. The petition described how irritated youths from the Okorisan, Lagos State, apprehended the alleged invader known as Modupe Orisan and the hoodlums, handing them over to the Lagos State Commissioner of Police crack team, while the Zone 2 police officers overseeing the forceful takeover fled the scene when the CP's team arrived. The estate owner, Dr. Said, intervened to prevent the youths from taking the law into their hands and urged them to allow the police to handle the situation, adding that the financial implications of the event have been significant, while the invaders' alleged activities have reportedly led to substantial losses for Harmony Gardens, including the alleged theft of payloaders worth 180 million naira. The group also alleged that damages inflicted during the alleged attack on July 22 added to the escalating losses, which now include extensive property destruction valued over 1 billion naira, and demanded that the IGP take immediate steps to investigate and deal appropriately with the officers implicated in these unlawful acts based on the petition reportedly submitted to DPP in Lagos. Osun State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of a medical doctor, Olayode Akangbe, for alleged assault and rape of a teenage girl. Confirming the arrest, spokesperson of the command, DMC Opalola, said investigation was being carried out by the police, adding that Shakiru was arrested by a team of policemen from Okebale Police Division in Osogbo after the family members of the 18-year-old girl reported the matter. Opalola said the medical doctor had been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for further action. Meanwhile, a text message the medical doctor reportedly sent to the victim on WhatsApp telling her of his intention to secure an employment for her has been retrieved as exhibit in the case, while elder brother to the victim, who did not want to be named, said the girl could not locate the house when the police took her there to arrest the suspect. Adopted co-members from Ondo State who were released by the kidnappers said the family of each of the victims paid the sum of 1 million naira before they were set free. The 5 victims, who include 4 co-members and 1 artisan, were kidnapped by the bandits at about 11 p.m. last Thursday at Omialafa village in Ifo-Oshe local government area and dragged the victims into the forest. The core members were going back home after the 3 weeks National Youth Service Corps orientation camp in Enugu and Abia State, and during the raid, the driver and 1 passenger sitting in front of Ode, Ogun State, were allegedly raped by suspected robbers. Eyewitnesses said around 12:30 a.m., suspected armed robbers invaded the student's apartment, forcibly taking the survivors' personal belongings, and the suspects, armed with guns, forced the students to surrender their phones and other belongings before leading them to an uncompleted building where they took turns raping them. The spokesperson for the State Police Command, Omolola Odutola, who's confirmed the incident, said efforts to apprehend the suspects were ongoing. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says the planned nationwide protest scheduled to begin on August 1st, 2024 is politically motivated by some who sought to use the protest to gain popularity. The minister disclosed this on Tuesday while addressing journalists following an inspection of the Apokashi Road project, first awarded in 2011, adding that the section of Nigerians on social media have been mobilizing to hold nationwide protests from August 1st, 2024 with the hashtag Tinubu must go and Revolution 2024 over the economic hardships. Wike called for patience among citizens, stating that the administration had only been in office for 1 year and was working to fix a lot of rot in the country, and also argued that the planned protest was political gimmicks masterminded by political jobbers who sought to gain popularity ahead of the 2027 elections, adding that the efforts of the administration would take some time to show. He also lamented the politics and lack of capacity that had caused the delay in the completion of the Apokashi Road project awarded in 2011, and promised he would review the capacity of the country contractors of each of the road sections and expect the project to be completed within 6 to 7 months after they had shown the capacity to handle the project. Several lecture halls at the Federal University of Lafia have been submerged by floods following a week-long torrential rainfall in the Nasarawa state capital city. Eyewitness said most students of the institution were stranded at the school gate as they could not access their classes due to the flooding which submerged several parts of the school premises. One of the students, who simply identified himself as Felix, appealed to the school management to, as a matter of urgency, look into the matter with a view to forestalling future occurrence of the situation, and also faulted the signing of some of the school's edifice in swampy areas, and urged the federal government to send a team of land surveyors to visit the institution in order to tackle the persistent flooding that had been confronting the university community. Meanwhile, the Nasarawa state government had taken steps to mitigate the effect of floods in flood-prone tertiary institutions across the state. The State Commissioner of Special Duties on Humanitarian Services and NGOs, Margaret Elayo, who disclosed this shortly after inspecting the multipurpose hall of the facility of the Faculty of Art, Federal University of Lafia, which was submerged by flood following a week-long heavy rain downpour in Lafia, expressed worry over the situation and assured the university management of government support, while urging the students to remain calm as efforts were already on top gear to address the situation. The Commissioner for Subject, facilitated by their late member Honorable Ekene Adams, will be diverted elsewhere. The Speaker, who was represented by the member representing Zango and Jaba Federal Constituency, Honorable Amos Gwama Magaji, made this pledge during the burial ceremony of late Ekene at St. Anthony Catholic Church, Romi, Kaduna. Until his passing, he was the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Sports and a former general manager of Remo Stars and Kada Stars FC. The Speaker, who extended his deepest condolences, extolled the virtues of the late member representing the Chikun Kajuru Federal Constituency, who won his election the platform of the Labour Party, and promised to ensure that no single project facilitated by the disease was diverted. While commenting on the release of fertilizer, he disclosed that there is no member House of Representatives from Kaduna State that has received his fertilizer so far, while the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, who was represented by Dr. Yunusa Tanko, described the disease as a man who loved his people, stood by them and listened to them. Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani is not happy with the high rate of poverty, out-of-school children, and general insecurity in the north, declaring that the region faces an existential threat. Sani disclosed this while highlighting the challenges facing the north, including insecurity and poor education, citing statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics and UNICEF. He disclosed this while welcoming a delegation from the Arewa Consultative Forum led by its chairman, Maman Mike Osuman, to Kashim Ibrahim, Government House in Kaduna State, while stressing the need for collective action to address these issues, urged the ACF to refocus attention on development rather than politics. He commended the ACF for promoting and protecting the interests of northern Nigeria despite the region's diverse composition, and countered the claims that President Bola Tinubu was against the North and attributed such narratives to political manipulators. He spoke on the importance of leadership in uniting the North and mobilizing its people for a brighter future, and called for collaboration to develop a Marshall Plan for the region's development, expressing optimism that the North would rise again. Arewa Consultative Forum said the North remains essentially a work in progress, despite the indices that track human progress, including poverty, illiteracy, health and security of life and property, which tend to place the North at the deep end of the trough. The forum therefore dissociated itself from the planned nationwide protest against bad governance, believing that it was ill-timed and counterproductive. Chairman of the ACF, Maman Osuman, who led other members of the forum during a visit to Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State, explains that in view of the planned national protest, the ACF is not a party to it and will not support it as it is ill-timed and counterproductive, adding that the visit was meant to promote a deeper and wider conversation around the current crisis of insecurity and poverty ravaging northern Nigeria. In their wisdom, he observed that northern leaders, including state governors, MIS and chiefs and other elders, decided to establish the ACF in 2000, stressing that it was against the background of a similar crisis of widespread insecurity and strife, adding that the intention was to bring together on one platform representatives of the diverse people of northern Nigeria without regard to political, ethnic and religious affiliations. Leadership of Taraba State All Progressives Congress has called on President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to consider the state for more political appointments. According to them, this will provide the party members in the state a better sense of belonging and enable them to contribute to national development. Possible leaders. Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi says the named protest or the planned protest is not the solution to Nigeria's economic hardship and urged Nigerians to turn to God, repent, seek for forgiveness and divine intervention on the challenges. He spoke during a town hall with 27 groups in Duse, Namadi, while urging the protesters to have a rethink. The meeting had in attendance the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Christian Association of Nigeria, while the National Association of Nigerian Students reportedly distanced themselves from the proposed protest, while Namadi expressed regret over the economic hardship and asked the public to view their predicament as a trial from God. Namadi also said federal and sub-national government had been providing foodstuff and cash to cushion the hardship. House of Representatives Committee on the Northeast Development Commission has called for more funding to enable it to sustain its developmental strides across the region. The committee, led by the member representing Magumeri Kaga and Gubio Usman Zana, made the recommendation as part of the committee's findings to be submitted to the House of Representatives after a two-day oversight visit to Bauchi State. Zana, while expressing satisfaction with the critical infrastructure put in place by the Commission across the region, said there is more to do in the region and calls for funding for the Commission. The Green Chamber also said the committee is fully satisfied with the NEDC project seen so far and hopes the Commission will double its efforts, and hailed the Managing Director and the entire team of the Northeast Development Commission for a job well done and pledged to relate the findings to the National Assembly. Also speaking, the Managing Director of the Northeast Development Commission, Mohammed Goni Al-Khani, said all the projects were aimed at providing or improving the quality of lives of the people of the region. Command have arrested Hashiru Baku, the mastermind behind the murder of the late Brigadier General Harold Udukwere. This is coming after Udukwere, who was the national chairman of the retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, was murdered by armed robbers who invaded his residence on June 22, 2024 and took away his gun. The police had arrested and paraded Ibrahim Rabiu, Nafiu Jamil, Aliyu Abdullahi and Mohammed Nuhu in connection with the crime on June 24. While parading arrested suspects, the Commissioner of Police, Bennett Igwe, said Baku was arrested in Kanu while trying to run away from the country, adding that the suspect was an escapee from the Kuje Correctional Center. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back right after this break. Please stay with us.
on the line. Across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is still the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appealed to Nigerians to shelve planned protests against bad governance in the country. The appeal was made known by Information Minister Mohammed Idris, who briefed State House correspondents after a meeting with the president on Tuesday. He said Tinubu urged the organizers of the protest to shelve the plan and await the president's response to their complaints. The protest against economic hardship, which is gaining traction on social media, has been scheduled to hold across all states of the Federation, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, starting from August 1st. While the prices of food and basic commodities have gone through the roof in the last months, and many Nigerians currently are battling one of the country's worst inflation and economic crisis, sparked by the government's twin policies of petrol subsidy removal and unification of forex windows. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent the minimum wage bill to the House of Representatives for consideration and passage into law. Tinubu's letter was read on the floor of the House, which provides for a new national minimum wage, as well as the legal framework for the implementation of the agreed wage. In the letter, the President urged lawmakers to expedite the passage of the minimum wage bill to ensure immediate implementation for the benefit of Nigerian workers. Tinubu also sought the amendment to the Nigeria Police Act in accordance with Section 58 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. However, lawmakers are expected to legalize the 70,000 naira minimum wage soon as to alleviate the hardship on the workers. Senate has approved the 70,000 naira minimum wage for Nigerian workers. The bill, would scale through the 3 stages of legislation, was approved a minute after it was transmitted to the Senate by the President for immediate passage by the upper chamber. This is coming after President Bola Tinubu recently announced 70,000 naira as minimum wage for workers in Nigeria, following the several meetings with the organized labor.
The piece of legislation seeks to raise the country's minimum wage from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira and to effect a review of the law after 3 years instead of the initial 5 years. While leading the debate on the bill, Senator Kwame Bamidele said the 70,000 naira was agreed upon by all parties after negotiations.
In response to the agitations and after a series of negotiations between the federal government and the organized labor, the current national minimum wage of 30,000 naira only has been reviewed upward to the sum of 70,000 naira only. This is part of the federal government's short-term measures to mitigate the situation in the country, as efforts are being made to bring about long-term solutions that would align with the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians and bring succor to the country generally.
However, in his view, Senator Tai Mongono, the chief whip of the Senate, said there is a need to review the minimum wage in line with the economic realities in the country.
And highly commendable. And then the second aspect of increasing the minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000 is equally very, very germane and apt, especially against the backdrop of the effect of the removal of subsidy, which has brought about a corresponding increase in the prices of goods and services. So there is a need to review the minimum wage to bring it in tandem with realities that is prevalent in the society.
In an unanimous vote, after a close consideration of the committee of the whole, the national minimum wage bill scaled through third reading and was passed.
A bill for an act to amend the National Minimum Wage Act 2019 to increase the national minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000 and to reduce the time for periodic review of the national minimum wage from 5 years to 3 years, and for related matters 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
The national minimum wage will become effective after President Bola Tinubu has stepped to it. Rotimi Adebuyi, ATN News, Abuja.
Passed the Police Act Amendment Bill 2024, seeking to amend the Police Act of 2020. The bill was sent to the upper chamber on Tuesday by President Bola Tinubu. The Police Act Amendment Bill proposed charges to the tenure of the Inspector General of Police and also seeks to increase the retirement age of police officers from 60 to 65 years and their tenure of service from 35 to 40 years. The new Police Act Amendment Bill will enable an appointment Inspector General of Police to remain in office for 4 years. Senate and the National Council for Women's Society have agreed to include domestic servants in the proposed 70,000 naira minimum wage scheme. The public hearing on the bill seeking on the act to provide for domestication and registration of domestic workers and employers in Nigeria. The public hearing on the bill, sponsored by Senator Babangida Hussaini, representing APC in Jigawa State Northwest, was organized by the Senate Committee on Employment, Labor and Productivity, chaired by Senator DK Plan, representing APC in Plateau State Central. The call for the inclusion of domestic servants in the National Minimum Wage Scheme was spearheaded by Senator Osita, representing APC in Imo West during his remarks at the public hearing, adding that part of the provisions to be included in the bill is domestic workers, housemaids and servants in the proposed 70,000 minimum wage law. The acting national president of the National Council for Women's Society, Geraldine Etuk, argued for the inclusion of domestic servants in the proposed national minimum wage law, while the chairman of the committee, Senator Dike Plang, said an agency would be set up to 35 trillion naira. The resolution was passed during the consideration and adoption of clauses 1 to 13 at the Committee of Supply as recommended by the House Committee on Appropriation. In his lead debate, Abubakar Bichi, who presented the harmonized joint Senate and House report, solicited the adoption of the recommendation of the committee. "180 members of the minority caucus of the 10th House of Representatives have adopted a motion by lawmaker Obi Ogwacha for the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Ogwacha represents the Ikwanu Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency, who disclosed this during the meeting of the caucus, urged his colleagues to take a definite position on the ongoing discourse surrounding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and to explore a political solution to the pressing issue. The adoption of the position by the influential caucus comes on the heels of Ogwacha's recent visit to former President Muhammadu Buhari and the successful mobilization of 50 of his colleagues across all parties and the Southeast Caucus of the National Assembly. In his address, Ogwacha stressed case was crucial for national peace, stability and unity, and called for the immediate and strategic engagement with relevant stakeholders to advocate for a peaceful and political resolution of the matter, which he expressed the belief that a political solution could pave the way for enhanced national integration and resolution of trust amongst various communities. First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Lagos First Lady, has endorsed a call for First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has endorsed a call for 70 challenged political office holders across the various political parties in Nigeria to walk the talks on gender equity. This was as she commended the House of Representatives for initiating and passing for second reading the bill seeking 70 out of the 360 legislative seats for women. She said the ruling party of the All Progressives Congress had taken significant steps to remove financial barriers by making nomination forms for elective positions free for women at the grassroots level. Inspector General Police Kayode Betokun has warned organizers of the proposed nationwide protest to abandon the plan. His comment was in response to social media campaigns mobilizing for a nationwide protest slated for August 1 due to the economic hardship in the country. Speaking during the meeting with commissioners of police in Abuja, Betokun said the country has its fair share of violence protests with dastardly consequences, adding that the last ensuch protests aggravated crime rates and insecurity in several parts of the country. He urged the citizens to jettison the proposed protests, adding that the police have the responsibility to protect citizens and their properties, adding that the measures are in place to ensure that any hoodlums attempting to disguise themselves as protesters will be apprehended. Amnesty International has advised President Bola Tinubu's administration against threatening Nigerians planning to protest against the current hardship and hunger in the country. The group warned that the threatening was intended to be peaceful, adding that Nigerians have the constitutional right to protest, adding that Nigerians have been charged to file out in August to protest against Tinubu's government following the bad economic situation in the country, and that the intending protesters would meet the strongest resistance of their lives if they opt to protest against the Nigerian government, and warned that those who gave Tinubu the mandate to rule the country would strongly resist the protest. Reacting, the group posted an X threatening peaceful protesters is unlawful and is guaranteed by international law and Nigeria's 1999 constitution. Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Shehu Mohammed has deployed new sector commanders for 20 states across the country. A statement issued by Olusegun Ogunbemid, the acting Corps Public Education, said that the deployment was part of the strategic intervention mechanisms established to drive the policy thrust of the Corps to rejig operational activities in the field commands, adding that the deployment was also propelled by the renewed zeal to reposition the Corps for greater performance and equity and quality service delivery. According to Mohammed, the affected states and the new sector commanders are Corps Commanders Maxwell Lede, the former Principal Staff Officer 2 to the Corps Marshal, is now the Sector Commander of RS-41 Plateau State Sector Command. Saliu Ibrahim moves from the Kanu Sector Command to Jigawa Sector